Hello and welcome to Math Lessons with Linda. Today's topic is solving quadratic trig equations, but today we are going to use factoring as our method of solving. So our equation today is 2 cosine squared theta minus 5 cosine theta plus 2 equals 0. So we already are in good shape because we know it's a quadratic because it's squared, and our whole quadratic has decreasing values for our exponents, and it's already set equal to 0. So we are going to go ahead and factor this. Now, I know that I am going to need a 2 cosine theta and a 1 cosine theta for my first two terms, because 2 times 1 is how I'm going to get the 2. I also know that I only have one factor pair here, just like I did for the first term, 2 times 1. But it's going to make a difference where I put the 2 and the 1, because I'm going to be multiplying the inside terms and the outside terms together, and I need them to be -5 or -5. So the way I can get the biggest value is if I put the 2 here, and I multiply 2 and 2 and I get 4. And if I put the 1 here, I get 1 times 1, which is 1. So that's going to give me my 5. To make it negative, I know that both of these signs are going to have to be negative. Okay, so I have factored this, and I now have these two factors that I'm going to set each of them equal to 0. So I've got 2 cosine theta minus 1 equals 0, and I have the cosine of theta minus 2 equals 0. So I will solve this one first by adding 1 and then dividing by 2. So I get the cosine of theta is 1/2. So there are two places where the cosine is a positive value, and that is in quadrant 1 and in quadrant 4. So we'll hang on to that for a second. Over here, we get cosine of theta equals 2. Now, this should raise a flag with you, because if you remember from any kind of trig graphs or the unit circle, the largest that the value for cosine ever gets is 1. So when I see this 2, that is out of bounds for what my restrictions are for cosine. And so this one has no solution. I'm going to reject it. There's nowhere on the unit circle where the cosine of any angle will give you a value of 2. So that one we reject. Does not work. So let's go back and check on our other value, cosine of theta equals 1/2. So we know quadrant 1 and quadrant 2 or 4 are what we are looking for. So when I do my inverse cosine, or if you've memorized the values on the unit circle, you know that the cosine is 1/2 at 60 degrees. That's my quadrant 1 value. To get my quadrant 4 value, I'm going to take 360 and subtract my reference angle. So that's going to give me 300 degrees. So on this particular quadratic, I only end up with 2 solutions that check out, and I had one solution that I had to reject because it was out of the bounds for the values of cosine. And that is one way to solve a quadratic trig equation using factoring.